Welcome to Athar's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Schumacher Cougar LD3 stock spec, steps 33 through 35. So let's get started. All right, so for the radio tray, we need to install these threaded inserts. We're going to install the threaded inserts in the hole that's all the way in the back, and also take note of the orientation of the tray. We want to install these buttons on this side where this cutout is over here. You don't want to install it with the cutout on this side. So just take note of that. We're going to install these threaded inserts with a little bit of CA glue on these holes. We use extra thick CA glue, that way it doesn't run everywhere. And then also I'm going to use some kicker so that way you don't see that white residue that develops when the CA glue dries sometimes. This is now prepared and ready for installation, but I'm actually going to use the brass radio tray, which is U7678. So we're going to use, looks like 2 M2.5 by 6 flathead screws to install the radio tray. The radio tray is adjustable and we can install them in 3 different positions. As you can see here, we've got 3 different holes. We're going to install it in the middle hole here. That is the kit setup. So just take note of that. And since I am going into some metal, I will apply a little bit of blue Loctite to my screws. Now we can go ahead and install our motor. My motor is still soldered to my ESC. This came off my B7, so I'm gonna try not to unsolder it, and I'll just try to install it as best as I can. And it's showing that you want to have the motor tabs kind of clocked forward. So just take note of that. We're going to install the motor screws are M3 by 8 cap head screws, and we're going to install it using some M3 washers as well. And I'm going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on those screws. And install my pinion. I don't know which size pinion would be good for the car on our current layout that we have, but I'm putting on a size 31 pinion. I'm going to see how that works out. You line up your flats on the shaft and then tighten down your pinion. Alright, so now we can use some double-sided tape to install the ESC and receiver, as well as my capacitors. So you can use the included double-sided tape that came with the kit, or your own. I already cleaned everything on this side, so let's go ahead and clean the battery tray. Go ahead and plug in my servo while I'm here. So that's it for step 33. We can move on to step 34, which is the battery posts. before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and route my sensor cable in the groove and plug it in. One thing I like to do is just put a piece of clear packaging tape over the sensor wire so that way it stays put. Alright, so we have, doesn't show it in the manual, but this is a little pad for the battery. You can install it in the battery tray area, and it's going to help pad the battery a little bit. So these are the battery posts. So we're going to install the screws that are pointing out of the chassis. We're going to install this in position number 4, which is the 4th hole from the front of the tray into that screw that's sticking out. Okay. And then we're just going to install that with an M3 washer and a nylock nut. So we can go ahead and do that. Now we have a few different options on the height of the LiPo. I'm using a ultra low center of gravity pack. So it's telling me to use a 1.5 millimeter spacer. That was in the bag. So these little plastic spacers, so I'm going to use the thinnest one. I'm just cutting off some excess flashing. We're also going to need 4 of these little tabs that hold the battery in place. And since I'm using the ultra low CG battery pack, we're going to use the M3x14 button head screws, which are the shortest ones that we have here. We've got, I believe, M3x16 and M3x20 as well, depending on the height of your battery pack. So, and then we're going to use the 4 M3 washers as well. So we're going to install the screw through a little tab, then through the M3 washer. Then we have our plastic spacer, and that will thread into these 4 holes here, here, and here. So we're going to do that on each one. I'm tightening these just enough so that there's enough friction that they don't move on their own, but it's easy enough to move with my fingers so that way I can get the battery in and out easily. All right, so that's it for step 34. Step 35 is really just putting on a set of wheels and tires. So I have an old set of fuzz bites that I'm just gonna put on, and I'll use those to break in my car before I start putting on a new set of tires. All right, so the car is now ready for its initial setup. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you have any tips or tricks that would be helpful for the community. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one, which will be a build review.